There are teenagers, literally 19, 20-year-olds, starting an Airbnb arbitrage business, starting an online business, and they are scaling way faster than the ones who have been in the industry for over a decade. Same market, same platform, same information, but different results. So what's actually going on? The truth is, information isn't the edge anymore. Everyone has the same access to YouTube, to AI platforms, pricing software, management systems. We're all in the same game. But the people who are growing, they simply figure out how to pull the right lever. And they do it with speed, conviction, and also clarity. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 3 levers that will grow short-term rental business in 2025 and beyond. And most importantly, what separates the top 1% from everyone else in the next 3 to 5 years. Because if you don't adjust now, you'll not just fall behind, you'll disappear. Firstly, I think that this industry, the short-term rental industry, is not going anywhere anytime soon. We all know that with the rise of AI, a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities that are once useful are now replaced simply because AI exists. People lose their job, people lose their career, people lose their business because technology has made it possible to replace them. But in my opinion, this is exactly why short-term rentals are not going anywhere anytime soon. The fact that everyone else in this world is stuck, glued to our technology, everyone else is using AI, automation, we're just spending most of our time virtually. This ultimately enhances the demand for human-to-human connection. Because the more that we detach from reality, the more that we tend to crave it. Because humans are built to socialize. We are built to connect with other human beings. And if that part of our need isn't satisfied, then we're gonna find another way to satisfy those needs. Whether it be through social networking, securing a holiday getaway, or just seeking opportunity to get out of our day-to-day mundane life. And that is why medias like podcasts are growing every single year. People crave authenticity. They want to hear what other human beings are thinking about. They don't want to simply listen to AI giving them suggestions. They want to actually listen to someone who has experienced the thing that maybe they want to experience. Besides podcasts, seminars are also growing. People nowadays don't want to just attend a Zoom meeting, stare at their screen, and have a conversation through the screen. They want to experience something tangible. That's why live events, social networking are coming back nowadays. And this is also the case with short-term rentals. For example, now there's digital nomads. People want to work and travel at the same time. And so short-term rentals allowed them to experience the best of both worlds. They get to work whenever they want to, and they get to experience the places that they also want to experience. This is also why larger properties are trending right now. Properties with more than 5 bedrooms allowed people to reconnect with each other, allowed a large group of people to not only reconnect but also share experiences. Maybe they created an event, maybe they just simply want to reconnect with nature. Whatever it is, the short-term rentals who are prioritizing experience will be the winners in this industry. Because ultimately, short-term rentals is not just about the stay, it's about the experience that these guests get, whether it's freedom, escapism, a reunion, a quiet retreat. So this is why emotional experiences and personal brand will still be relevant even in the next few years, because the more that we are consumed within our technology and the digital world, the more that we also will crave the external world. However, on the other side, because personal branding and also emotional experiences are becoming more worldwide known, people started to implement this into their business. That ultimately means there will still be competition in this game. The more that people understand personal brand and injecting emotional conviction works, more people are going to apply that. And so what this means is just simply creating a personal brand might still work, but it's going to be harder for you to stand out. This is where we come to the second point, which is distribution is equally as important as product. Building a business with great experiences is not enough, especially if not enough people are even aware of it. 10 years ago, if you want to build a business, it is still considered as hard because it requires a huge amount of capital upfront. It requires you to hire staff. But today, with a laptop and internet, you can basically create a business within seconds. And that means that everyone can enter this space. The entry barrier for starting a business is really, really low. That's why the noise has been louder than ever, and the ability to own distribution channel is your new advantage. If you cultivate a great experience that nobody really knows about, you're still gonna lose to the person who markets better, who gets more attention, more traffic, even if their product is worse than yours. The top operators understand, firstly, content marketing equals to compounding brand equity. Secondly, attention equals currency. And finally, visibility equals trust. And again, it's not just simply building attention through these social media platforms. The entry barrier for everyone to market their product is really low. If you think that generating traffic is just as simple as posting content consistently, then you're not going to get anywhere too far. Because nowadays, you also have to understand the psychological trigger point for every content that you create. If you look at Instagram, if you look at TikTok, we're bombarded by too much content, literally. Your job is to understand how your content can get to your target audience homepage or get their attention, basically, and then figure out a way to not only get their attention, but to also convert them into ultimately your paying customer. And again, this isn't just as simple as posting contents regularly. If you want to go viral, not only do you have to understand the trend, what the market is currently looking for, but you also have to trigger the human brain so when they look at your content, they're hooked. Hopefully they like you, they trust you more, or even if they don't like you, you gain their attention, you somewhat turn that into more attention, and then ultimately converting more people. You can do this by understanding human psychology. For example, in your contents, you activate specific emotional pathways in their mind. Anything that engage us emotionally will ultimately convert better than those who just converts through logical pathways. You need to be also leveraging the human brain reward systems. Give humans dopamine when they look at your videos. If you want to become viral, simply turn controversy into distribution. What this means is, for example, if your target audience have a specific cognitive bias, you exploit them, turning them into a controversy that drives traffic. There's a lot of other touch points that you have to keep in mind when creating contents. I won't dive too much into it, but basically the key points that I want to talk about is that distribution is still equally as important as the service that you provide. You need to understand how to gain attention, market correctly so that it reaches to your target audience, and then being able to convert your target audience into your customer. Now we have to talk about the product, how experience, personal branding, emotional hook is very important to win in this day and age. Not only that, you have to also balance the distribution, gaining attention, traffic, and also being able to convert that traffic. Now the final point that I want to talk about is that this all doesn't have to equal to more work. It's all about finding what works for your specific needs, for your specific business, and then multiplying it. We live in a world where information is widely accessible. Everyone has the same access to the same information. The reason some people are able to get to the top 1% is simply because they have found the lever that they can keep pulling over and over again at scale with minimum effort and with full control. So it's not just about adding more team members. It's not about cutting expenses. It's not about maximizing profit. The profit will ultimately come if you leverage the thing that you're most good at. If you are able to find the thing that grows the business, the money, profit, the customers, all of that will ultimately come as the byproduct of that. Let me give you an example. In the short-term rental industry, you probably know that there is a lot of coaching business, coaching other people to start their first Airbnb business, to start their own Airbnb arbitrage business, whatever it is. There's a lot of coaches out there who charges a large amount of money upfront. Yes, some of them do have the experience and then convert their experience into the coaching program, but not all does. Some people, they started coaching business just because they watch other YouTube videos, learn a thing or two about that specific industry, and then turning them, packaging them into a coaching program. But still, they get traffic, they get clients. People still want to be coached by that specific coach. Why? Simply because, firstly, they have validated their product. Maybe they follow this specific YouTube channel that is really working, package it into a product, and so their product is good. It triggers an emotional hook for the leads to actually convert into paying clients. Secondly, they are able to distribute it at mass. Either they have a brand name, personal brand of themselves, or they understand how to leverage paid ads, contents maybe, outbound, inbound marketing, and finally they are able to convert that lead into their customers. Ultimately, their leverage point, the reason why they are able to charge so much is because they understand one thing, which is accountability. People who pay for a coaching program most likely not only pay to get the information that they need, because again, information are widely accessible. If the creators itself create the program from YouTube, then anybody else can also learn it from YouTube. But the reason why they are able to charge so much is because they're able to provide the thing that their students want the most, which is accountability and also maybe conviction. The promise that they are able to get the result to their students in a certain amount of time, for example. So their product is good, distribution is good, and finally they found their leverage point, which is why they're able to charge so much with so little minimum effort, but still getting a lot of traffic anyway. And that's also how you want to take an approach inside your short-term rental business. Sure, you have to put in efforts to craft an experience that your clients, the owners, the landlords, or the guests would like. Sure, you also have to pump out content every now and then and figure out which content performs best. But ultimately, it doesn't come down to more work, more trial and errors, more hustle. You just simply have to find out what works for your business, and then instead of just looking at that as a good sign, you actually figure out how to do it over and over again at scale. Either you productize your service, you systemize it, you automate the things that can be automated, you create a marketing strategy that works for your specific type of business, that works for your target audience, and then you double down on that. You don't bother trying quick wins every now and then, because you know that if you're just striving for quick wins, you're ultimately going to build a business that also will last quickly. You want to build something that is long-term, that drives growth, that doesn't consume yourself and your soul. You build this business for freedom, for peace of mind, being able to serve other people. And yeah, all of that dreams are achievable only if you find the leverage point inside your business. So instead of you paying a developer to create a very aesthetically pleasing website, which might work, but at the same time, you also have to balance the messaging inside your website. Even if your website is pretty, but nobody really gives a shit about what you're talking about inside your website, then nobody's going to convert. Nobody's going to book from you. Nobody's going to believe you. You have to win trust. That is one example of leverage. You figure out what messaging resonates with your leads most. You test out angles. And then finally, if everything works out, if you're able to convert leads into clients consistently, then you can start branching out on adding the little features that enhance the experience but doesn't really matter if you're unable to convert anyway. Same thing with content creation, as I've mentioned before. Creating a lot of content might work. Maybe you want to test an angle. But you have to post content that are strategic. You have to post with intention, track every numbers, every data, to make sure that you understand what's working and what's not. Otherwise, you're just burning money. Or worse, some people, they just try paid ads because they think that traffic is the solution for their lack of bookings. But in reality, even if you get a ton of traffic from your paid ads, again, if you're not able to convert them, if you're not able to turn that into a paying customer, then what's the point? If you're running meta ads but your content is not really driving attention, not really driving traffic, then it's not the meta ads fault. It's ultimately your job to make the content, the creative campaign good first, and then you run the paid ads. Because meta ads ultimately pushes the content that people likes most. They want to get more money. So if your content works, if a lot of people watches your content, if a lot of people engage with your content, then Meta is going to keep pushing it. Because they know that the more people look at your content, the more people will convert, the more people will give them money. That is why understanding leverage is so important, not just for the sake of your business, but also for the sake of your sanity. If you're feeling behind, overwhelmed, or just not sure where to focus on, you're not alone. The short-term rental market has become noisier than ever. It is competitive as hell. But the top operators will be the one who understand people, not just their properties. They build experiences that make guests feel something. They share stories that others remember. They use distribution and ultimately leverage to scale the business, not labor or effort. Because in a world with infinite access to AI, human connection, distribution, and insight are the only unfair advantages left. This is time for you to build with purpose and scale with precision. If this video helps you in any way, shape, or form, please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on how the short-term rental markets, or even business in general, are going to evolve in this era of AI. Other than that, if you need help to systemize your business, to find your leverage point, and being able to experience growth without all of the chaos, there's a link below where you can check out. Me and my team will help you find that leverage point and make sure that you succeed. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. I don't normally do a lot of talking videos like this, but I just feel like I want to share all of these insights that I have about the market right now and what I think will work in the future. Also, according to all of the insights that I get from other markets, the researches that I've done, I have compiled this conclusion on how to grow your business from now on and also in the next few years. So hopefully you liked it, and I'll see you in my next video.